Welcome traders. So I'm recording this on the Saturday, 5th of November. So remember the 5th of November. Today is Guy Fawkes in the UK. And let's just have a look at the economic calendar. So I did want to recap on the non-farm payroll. So, non-farm payroll, it's not a surprise. Unemployment went up a little bit from 3.6 to 3.7. It's not out of control. Excuse me, it's not out of control. The jobs numbers also beat expectations. So there's both good and bad news there, which is great because it's not, what it is the rate of it has changed from 2 months ago. So that's all really, really positive. And then having a look at economic calendar news coming out this coming week, Thursday is really where I think the market is going to be moving towards and focusing on, especially probably from Wednesday through to Thursday. The focus is going to be on the core inflation rates and inflationary numbers there to see if it's starting to calm down a bit. So it's really about if there's going to be a bigger jump than expected. If there's a slight increase or break even, it's going to be fantastic. And then the thing with this is that if it's starting to calm down now, the dollar is not really going to be as responsive, which means that we might see some dollar weakening. Whereas if it obviously is continuing to spiral out of control, we're going to see more of that dollar strength returning. Nothing is more apparent in showing that than the way that Friday behaved, where we had for the first 30, 40 seconds, we saw amazing dollar strength return, and then it just reversed, and it reversed hard. So basically, it looks as though the market is becoming a little bit more tired of that dollar strength. Dollar itself is starting to wane a bit, and so I'm looking to see a follow-through of that this coming week. We've had it for the last few weeks, and it's good, because it's almost as though the market is anticipating that it's going to calm down and is almost slightly ahead of the curve, barring some unforeseen surprises. I think also a bit on Friday, the consumer sentiment is just that extra little bit. So the market, again, is just watching for any signs of surprise. Not really a sign of a trend as much as a surprise in a leap in kind of if things are getting worse in a leap, like some surprising big jump. Anyway, that being said, let's go and have a look at the charts. Okay, so the dollar index. This is good. We've currently got a lower high coming in with a very strong bearish candle. When you look at that weekly chart, you can see a bit of that exhaustion coming in. And again, it looks as though we're committing to that retracement. So if I just kind of take that away, it looks as though we're committing to, I beg your pardon, a swing high, which would then trigger a retracement, which puts 105 potentially in the target. So that's quite a big move from 115 down to 105. Possibly even as low as 110 if this starts to play out over the next 3 to 6 months. So I'm watching that. I think the angle of this is within a channel or bear channel. It really will accelerate if we break these lows. Then I expect it to head down towards 108. So that's what I want to see happen this week. Let's see how the market goes Wednesday and Thursday with the news coming up. But initially, I mean, this is reasonable. Look at this really nice bullish indecision candle here on euro dollar, trying to get back above parity. When you look at it here on the monthly perspective, it looks like it's trying to form that swing low, which means 105, even as high as 101 is a potential if we continue to follow through on that. And actually here you can see a very strong bullish candle finish on Friday within a channel to the upside. So it's bullish. And so my initial expectation here is to plan A, is to go in line with that. We've been waiting for it for a while. I want to see us just follow through on that. We have a look at sterling. Sterling is also within a bull channel, nice and bullish candle here, almost a nice little, this is sort of a nice little U-turn here. Big move down Thursday, Friday, big push up. The weekly candle settling into this in the moving averages. A break below that would be a continuation to the downside, but collectively this looks more bullish than bearish. And when you look at it here on a monthly perspective, you can see this is overextended, a really nice area of support around that 1.1. I'd like to see the market move up to 1.2. I don't think that's that crazy. It's not that far away. It's up here. Let's see if it can happen this coming week. Aussie dollar, really big, strong push there. Overall looking really nice and bullish within that downtrend. But also potential swing low. So the level to watch here is going to be the high of October, which is 06548. So let me just put in a little bit of a level. Okay, 6548, that's really it. So that'll be the high over here. That's what I'm looking at. We break that, then the game starts to change significantly. And then we start to look up towards 67, 68. We're going to see a significant change there. Okay, Kiwi dollar, US dollar is quite bullish. It looks really good over here. To me, 0.6, 0.61, feasible. Completely reasonable for us to hit up this week. We're in a nice uptrend, really nice bullish. We had this depletion. We just broke and closed well above that, looking good. Kiwi is actually stronger than anticipated. So Kiwi for me is certainly on my watch list next week. Dollar yen. Okay, so dollar yen, you can see a lot of bullish behavior, these bullish kind of lows here. We need to start to hit a little bit low, and I think we'll accelerate once we start to close below 144.80. We're doing a little bit of consolidation, and we might find some support at this area and continue up. I'd have to see that. That monthly is producing an inside bearish candle, and therefore we could be forming a swing high there as well. So dollar yen will do its own thing. I'm not going to follow through on what I expect the yen crosses to do, because yen crosses against other currencies versus dollar yen can do different things. Dollar Swiss is a mess. It's just a nightmare. I'd stay away from it. It does look as though it's encountering some really strong resistance there at parity, and I would expect it to come back down at some point soon. It's not looking great. I think that's going to hit a little bit lower. Dollar CAD has done this really nice head and shoulders. It's broken that neckline. And so really nice bearish weekly candle. It's actually a bearish engulfing weekly candle. So here I think it becomes feasible that dollar CAD is going to work its way down to 1.3. And that is also quite attractive. Let's have a look at the dollar ruble. Nobody cares anymore. It's just sideways. It's comatose. This is not going to change until there's, I believe, until there's a change in the war, the state of the war, one way or another. I don't expect any changes there. Effectively, trade is starting to halt. And therefore, it's in a coma until something changes, and nothing's going to change. EURUSD looks really good. We had a great pullback. This one wasn't triggered. We've come back into these old highs now. We've broken the high. That's a really nice bullish candle. For me, for now, my expectation is for this to work its way up to parity. So this, for me, is this is an actual swing trade that is in place, which has already been triggered, and my expectation is for it to target 1. Moving on to commodities. This was a happy surprise. Okay, so we have... when we look at this, we've actually had a triple bottom here, but we were producing a series of lower highs into this level. And therefore, if we'd stayed below this previous high over here at 1675 and produced a lower high, then we were leading to a bearish breakout pattern. However, we have broken above it. We've closed really strong bullish level. And actually within the bigger picture here, we're producing all of this on that 50-period moving average, which, 50-period bounce, you've seen it on some of the indices. This is providing the setup here for gold to work its way back up. So especially when we start to break above this previous high here at about 1730, I'm expecting us to then accelerate and start working our way up towards 1800. So for this week, what I would like to see is a pullback into 1650, 1660, and then looking for a continuation back up and getting over 1700. That's what I'm looking for. Silver did really well as well. It's looking very nice and bullish. This is a beautiful bullish build-up breakout pattern. You can't see it here. A series of high lows into a flat level. A break of this level, which I think is going to happen early in the week, should see it start to work its way up to 22, and actually then we'll start to deal with what its potential is after that. But some good stuff there. Looking highly probable. Copper also looking really nice and strong, and this was a mess. So look at this single dedicated bar, really nice trend on the MACD above 1. All of this coming up into this level of resistance. It has no idea where it's going. It's all over the place. Suddenly you've got this dedicated move, and I think we're going to see this work its way up to 4 up here. So we've got some good moves up to there. That looks good. Natural gas. Bit of a mess, but it is in an uptrend to the upside. It's produced that swing low on the weekly, and it's potentially setting up here, guys, as a monthly bullish candle, which means that if this closes this way, we're going to see it head up, back up towards these old highs up here. Now we're on to, we're in the energy sector anyway with natural gas, but when we look at crude oil, within this monthly, it's a very steady chart, and it's produced a bullish candle here. We've broken the high. It appears, for now, ladies and gents, 100 is a certainty, as close as you can get to a certainty, and we're going to work our way up towards 110, possibly up to 120. So that this longer term trend is still intact. This is, I was going to say this is nothing to do with anyone in particular. It just is the trend of oil over the last year. And so it looks as though it's going to be doing that. Brent crude has actually performed really well as well. It's a mess on the weekly. So when you look at it on the weekly, it looks like it's pure garbage, which it is. And we can see on the monthly, however, it's coming up to 100. Nice round number. I think it's going to break through that. And I think this time round, we're potentially going to see it just more stable. It's going to break its way through that, and it's going to continue to the upside. So for traders who like to trade sort of channel breaks or trendline breaks, there's your trendline break sitting at approximately 103. We're likely to break through that now and then continue on up if that's your bag. Okay, then let's look at sugar. Sugar's bullish now. Okay, so we've got a bit of a double bottom here. Let's call it range bound for now, but no reason why it's not going to head up to 20 again. Coffee. So coffee has had a bit of a rough time, but if we get a boost with a weaker dollar, then I would expect this to head back up, but it is bearish. This is not finding a level of support. This is within a bear channel, but it might be at the bottom of the channel. So I would treat it more as a potential retracement within a downtrend rather than, you know, that downtrend is over for now. When we have a look at, say, wheat, this is also in an area where it's really not strong. It's produced a higher low here, so we are possibly in a bit of a bull channel at the moment, but I need to see it get back up above these previous highs to see more of that bullishness return. And overall, it's fine. In terms of options trading, you know, there are definitely a few here where there's some really nice sell puts available. Some good potential income earning opportunities on a few of these, but it wouldn't be putting coffee and wheat in that. I'd be putting sugar and Brent, crude oils and metals in that. Cotton, this is good. Look at that. That's a full-on bullish engulfing candle. Also almost bullish engulfing on the monthly. This is a really good sign. It is a downtrend on the monthly, and we do have to break that. But this is looking more and more likely. And certainly once it gets back up above the 50-period moving average and above 100, we are then, I would say, more in an uptrending territory. We haven't got the change in trend, but we are now more bullish than bearish. Okay, so now moving on to the global indices. We'll start off with the Dow. Overall, I'm really happy with this. We got a nice double bottom here with a break, very clean bullish candle. So this was a pretty easy trade. Then moving up, we've broken this previous high. We've pulled back, we've produced a bullish candle. The 10, 20, and 50 have reordered. Independently, this is a really bullish sign. If we look at it on the monthly, we get that bullish engulfing candle. Excuse me, on the weekly, it's just that it's at the top of it. Let's call it a bear channel. Still below that 50-period moving average. Once it gets above that, the game changes. Then we start to return to a bear market. We have relatively nice bullish divergence, let's call it here, or at least it's a double bottom here, even though we had a lower low. So it's leaning bullish. Now, Thursday is going to be the deciding factor. So Thursday, if we get a shock number out of CPI, we're going to see a surge back on the stronger dollar. It's going to knock the markets. But that aside, which would be a surprise, that aside, I think we're going to start to recover. So I'm more bullish than bearish for my trading plan this week. The S&P as well, having come back, it's produced a bullish signal on this last sort of level of support, resistance over here. It's finding support. I want to see it continue, and I want to see a break above these highs. What I would say is that on a weekly perspective, this in isolation looks like a bearish setup, but it really is only confirmed if we break the low of last week. So this is why I'm curious. And if we then look at it from a monthly perspective, we're looking good. We do have a downtrend, but we're also really in a prime area on that 50-period moving average. We're in a really good area for this to turn around and for it to start to work its way to the upside. So in order for that to happen, I need to see us not break the low by the end of the week. So I know there's a week from today, and see us actually break the high, finish higher. That then starts to add more and more weight to the idea that we're returning to an uptrend, a longer-term uptrend. Now we've got the Nasdaq, which has produced a double bottom. We've got clear bullish divergence on both indicators, and all of this hinting at the idea that, yes, we could turn around. If I look at a chart on the monthly, so let's just kind of take that away, look at this. I don't want to break the low of October. I want to break the high of this and start to see a bit of a movement to the upside there. We've slowed down, so we've got a low here. So aggressive low, then we pull back, and then a shallow low compared to that. This is a good place for a turnaround. Could even double bottom, but I need to see the start to push a little bit higher. The real challenge is going to be this area here at 11.7. I want to see us break above that. That becomes a big, big thing if we manage to do that. Looking good so far. Looking at the Russell, looks great. We've got a series of high lows, double bottom here, bullish divergence. We've got a break and a retest here with a bullish candle. This is, to me, is a potential swing trading buy opportunity. Again, I acknowledge what's going on the weekly, but look at this. We've got a beautiful double bottom here with clear bullish divergence. All of this leans bullish. It is telling me that the sentiment is shifted bullish. And wait till you see the FTSE. Man, it's on fire. Look at this. In fact, I haven't seen the FTSE this enthusiastic while everything else appears to be going to crap. This looks fantastic. It's going to encounter some resistance when it gets up to 7.5. Fine. But man, it is enthusiastic and keen to get there as quickly as possible. The DAX as well. DAX, very, very solid. Got a lot of potential resistance here at 13.5. But overall, I don't think there's a lot stopping it. I think 14 is in its sights. It's already had a bit of a pullback. The FTSE is going to need a bit of a retracement here. It's a bit overextended, but I'm looking for buy opportunities here. So far for all the ones that I've gone through, my inclination, my trading plan, my plan A is to look for continuation setups. No counter trend trade setups, no reversal setups, just looking for trend based in the direction of the trend. The DAX, we've looked at the Nikkei. Nikkei looks okay. It's within this range, so it's a garbage kind of a setup. I'll tell you what, let's border this. Let's put a ring around it. Let's frame it so that we know what it is we're dealing with. I think we'll do it like that. So there we go. Okay, so if we break out of this, we should, especially if we close solidly above that level. If we want to push it a little bit further, let's go up there. Let's kind of close it around there. Nope, let's go further. Let's close it around there. There. That's it. So if we break above that, we then should be back on our way up to 30,000. Let's have a look at the ASX out of Australia. Beautiful. Beautiful break within a higher series of high lows. Beautiful bullish breakout pattern. Breakup, pullback, retest, bullish candle again. So Monday for me, there's a couple of good, easy trade setups on the break above the high, stop loss below the low, looking to capture some profits as we go up. There's a double bottom on the monthly. Fine. There's no bullish divergence there. Acknowledged. Here we've got a nice double bottom with bullish divergence. So all of this is, again, is more bullish than bearish. If we just have a normal week, I would expect the markets to continue upwards. Moving on to the equities of interest. So let's look at Glencore out of the UK. Look at that. Brand new highs on that. Fantastic. Phenomenal week last week. So November's already breaking up to new highs. Looking good. Have a quick sip of coffee. Look over there. Look at the charts. Don't look at me. Okay, there we go. Tesco's. Looking all right. So remember that I'm looking, actually the monthly has this level of support at 200. This needs to get above 230 to be shifting the sentiment. It is in a downtrend, but you have to look not just at the trend, but the context, the bigger picture of price. So is it above a certain price? Then it can't be weak. And then we're going ahead. Let's move across to the US. Let's have a look at Amex. Amex has got a double bottom here. Bullish divergence. It's not a bad sign. That's not a strong finish. But I think the sentiment is shifting bullish. Even if it takes a couple more weeks to do it, I expect this to start to turn around. I would say that if we finish this coming week above 156, which is not it doesn't have to do that, that would be an amazingly positive sign. Okay, Apple. So Apple was really interesting. This is a terrible week for Apple. We've got clear bullish divergence. We should, in theory, based off technicals, find some really good support in this area. It should hold. But that's underperforming in my mind. This should have been we should have finished higher. We should have finished up here. So this is what I'm going to be looking for this week is a break, see it back up at the highs, 152. I expect a week from today to have a strong bullish candle here. It doesn't look good. Right now, it's looking weak. I find that interesting. I'd love to know why that's the case. If you have any opinion on that based off fundamentals or any news or theories or rumors that you've heard of, please put those in the comment section. I'd love to hear why that might be the case. This level should hold. And I'd like to see it push a little bit higher, but no trading opportunities for me at this time. Amazon, come on, man. Get your stuff happening. To me, it just really feels as though tech stocks are potentially overvalued or have been for the last 5 years, and therefore they're coming back more into a true value range, which is fine because that then represents a really good buying opportunity for investors, which should start to represent itself or show itself in the charts. I need to see us get back up above 100. I'm not impressed at this time. Let's have a look at ARK. Okay, so ARK is definitely flirting with this line, definitely toying with it, clear bullish divergence, but it is looking weak. Okay, so I gotta say this. We've got a bit of a triple rejection here, but it doesn't mean anything until we break this high. We've got a flat level here, it's starting to lean bullish. So what I want to see this week is a Hail Mary. I want to see this recover from this and finish higher. But it is flirting with testing new lows, guys. It's not rejecting the lows anymore. It's now closing near the lows. And so I think it's testing those. It's not looking good. But then again, neither is Amazon. So what are you going to do? AT&T have stalled where they are. This is going to be interesting. They had a really strong bullish recovery off this. They're kind of within a channel. So they have a bit of room to move up. But again, this is not going to change. I need to see them really work their way through that level of resistance before my faith in it has changed. And Adidas. So I've added Adidas in because, we kind of live in very interesting times where we're the closest since World War I to a tip back towards authoritarianism and fascism. So we normally shouldn't have to talk about politics. It shouldn't be important, but it actually is. There's stuff going on we need to be aware of. And we've seen a rise in anti-Semitism and we've seen a rise in authoritarianism. So it's interesting because obviously you may or may not know this, but Adidas has had some issues they've had to deal with regards to one of their prime people that they sponsor promoting anti-Semitism, which is not acceptable. Okay, it's not acceptable. And so they finally took some time to respond to it, and you can see there's a boost once they hoofed the person, which is a wise choice. They're very overextended to the downside. There's some room to move, so I would expect them to start, if all things end well, they should be able to work their way back up to 150. Berkshire Hathaway, they're fine. I mean, there's a nice double bottom here. They are range bound. The game changes when they get back up above the 50-period moving average and they break this high at 308. That then becomes them most likely working their way back up above, back into an old sort of uptrend. Bullish setup here, so this could be a potential trade possible to work its way back up to 300. Let's see how that goes. BP, I need to go through these faster. BP's looking fine. You're breaking out through to new highs on that. Following through with oil. So basically, remember that BP and Exxon benefit from oil. So it's not that they necessarily deliver anything magical, just that they benefit from that. And Exxon, you can see, of course, is ahead of whatever BP is doing. Again, fundamentally, I can't speak to that, but they're following through on that. So that's bullish as well. Let's look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, nice little turnaround here. Bullish candle, breaking above the high. It's now looking more bullish than bearish. I would be like, the game changes again when we break the high of last month. And this week, I expect it to try to work its way back up to those old highs. We've got FedEx. FedEx is weak at the moment because it's just kind of this is sort of more of a bear flag. It gets back up here, then potentially breaks the low and starts heading down. I'm not convinced this is done yet. I would really need to see a break back up above 165 and break outside the top of this channel so that that is proof that the sentiment has become more bullish than bearish. We got General Motors. Bit of a double bottom here. We need to break this high and get above that 50-period moving average. But that monthly candle looks good. Looks like it can do it. And then that means 50 starts to set its sights on that 50 level there as well. JP Morgan, looking good. Solid. Aside from retracements, I expect a continuation to the upside. I'm happy with that. Meta, I'm a little bit worried because I don't understand. I'm a little bit concerned. This is a little bit of an opinion, so apologies, but I was going to say, I think if you live in that part of the world in technology, you're a bit of an echo chamber because you think that 99% of the world lives in that same environment when probably 90% of the world does not have access necessarily to the same technology. And so creating a metaverse and sinking billions into it is going to be a really game changer. I think it might only be ideal for people who live in that small little with all that access to technology, you have it. But for most people, it's not really the kind of thing we need. And I don't feel metaverse is delivering things we need. I think it's delivering things you think we want. But now we're in a state in the world when it comes to when we've got inflation, we've got a few other things. What Facebook should be delivering is value. And I'm just not seeing it. They're delivering value for their advertisers or for the businesses they do business with. But I can't see how they're delivering value to. And I was going to say, we're not the customers, we're the product. But they're not delivering anything of real life-changing value. And in fact, they've actually strayed away from the very thing that they built their foundation on. Just my 2 cents worth. So I don't really expect much from them. Then we've got Morgan Stanley. Nice high low there. It looks good. There's exhaustion in this area, so it has a battle with 85. But it has shifted the momentum. It's now more bullish than bearish. I want to see if we can get it up to 90. That would change the game for it. Let's see if we can follow through on that. Then we've got Netflix. This is pretty cool. We've broken through this level of resistance. We've come back to it. This is a good opportunity. We've got an uptrend on the weekly. We're still, I acknowledge, we could produce a bearish monthly candle for November and then continue down. So that is still a possibility. But if we produce a nice little bullish setup here, we should, and get back up above 300, then we are definitely, that game is starting to look better. NVIDIA as well. I'm really liking NVIDIA at the moment. It's looking quite strong. So for options, as I was saying, for options, there's been some really good earnings opportunities on options trading for NVIDIA as well, of a few others, Medina. So I'm liking this. It's looking more bullish than bearish, right? Then we've got PayPal. Which is coming back down again. So similar to, what was it I was saying with ARK, where it's kind of sniffing around the lows. Not a good sign. Looks bearish. But what we could get out of this maybe is a triple bottom, like another bounce. We've got bullish divergence here. Let's see, but not as bullish on this as the others. Not really sure what they can do to improve other than increase their fees or something like that, but I'm not sure what they can do. I don't know. I'm not qualified to speak on that one. Spider is not offering any clarity here. It's a bit of a mess, to be fair. It's actually not looking strong. So that could head lower. Interesting to see that divergence. We're not seeing everything move together. So we might find that it becomes a bit more value-based. So now when you see something move, it's because it's actually delivering something that somebody else isn't. This is interesting. I mean, like Spotify dropping to these lows here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an announcement by Spotify to maybe increase their subscription fee or something to bump their numbers up, because they are fixed into this trend at this point in time. We need to see a shift there. Tesla's flirting with this level of support. It's not free and clear yet. It looks as though, based off this, there's a good chance it's going to work its way down to 180, which will bring it back to where it has been in May last year. Don't forget, of course, Tesla really only came into kind of mass consciousness in a little bit over 2 and a bit years ago. It's, although we've known about Tesla for years, nobody really gave a crap about it until January 2020, 2 months before COVID. And all of a sudden, everybody thinks, Elon Musk is a genius. I'm not really convinced. 50%, almost 50% of that value that it gained at the peak with everything else, it's given back. And it looks like it's flirting with giving back more. So I'm not seeing this as a great, right now, I'm not seeing this as a really good thing. I'm more cautious with this. What I need to see is a shift above. Obviously, it becomes significant where we can get back over 300. There's not showing too much of that. So this week, I want to see a bump up to the upside. Let's have a look at Twitter. This is hilarious. I mean, I'm sorry. This is absolutely hilarious because we're just going to have to see what happens with Twitter. There's been a nice little boost. I must say, I'm very happy with this boost. Nice little thing here, but we've come up to this level of resistance. So to me, this is going to be an interesting one. Will we be able to break above this high, or are we going to reject it and start to head back down to the lows here? It is a possibility. I'm just curious to see what happens with it, but the first week under new management has been a crap show, for want of a better expression. So we're just going to have to see how that turns out. I'm just curious. Twitter, okay, so Twitter, but it's looking good. I mean, so far that looks bullish. We just got to get through this level, get past that high. So I'm curious this week, are we going to get a rejection candle? Are we going to break lower? Or are we going to just solidly cross that line? And then that is a good thing. Twitter then is starting to separate from the rest of the crowd. And then, credit to the new administration, so to speak. Then we got Vanguard finishing off with that nice bullish candle here. All of this, have we broken the high? Let me just check this quickly. So the high of, where do we go here? The high of that is 35877. 357. Okay, so yeah, so we've broken a little bit higher there. I want to see us push a little bit up and continue up. This is really good. We're in a really nice area for this to push up from here. And it's changed, the trend has changed from a downtrend to an uptrend, but it's got to follow through on that. We've still got that bearish weekly candle. We could come down and do a double bottom or test these levels again. So there's a whole, what I am seeing here is a splintering. Some of the charts are looking a little bit bearish. Some are looking really good. Some aren't really giving much clarity, which is not always the case. If you've been watching my episodes, this is not something that happens very often. I think it's a good thing. I think what we're seeing now possibly is the expression is it's separating the wheat from the chaff. I forget the expression, but it's basically filtering out the junk from the good stuff. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. And I'm curious about that. Let's move on to bonds. We're almost done. 5 minutes left and we're done. So this has got definite bullish divergence. I think with this bullish candle here, we break above this high. We're going to see a little bit more of a retracement on that. We've slowed down. Look how these big candles have got smaller. I think we're starting to see a bit of a tapering off here. And then I want to see a little bit of a move up. But I don't expect this to be a big one. I'm looking to see if we can come back up to these old highs this coming week. If we can, I think that's a win. Okay, so Eurobund as well. We could be in the middle of an inverted head and shoulders. So I would need to see Monday this week. I would need to see Monday start to push back and start to head up to these highs. I have to say here it looks more bearish than bullish. We've come back up, produced a bearish candle against the moving averages, against previous support. This looks more bearish than bullish. So, and it's an inside bearish candle. All of this leans more bullish than anything, but there is some bullish divergence here. There is a possibility we can reverse from that. Let's have a look at crypto. So cryptos, of course, as you know, if we get a boost in equities, we will likely get a boost in cryptos. There's no reason why that shouldn't necessarily be the case. Here we've got some bullish divergence. So let's just have a look at that. Let's zoom in on that. And here you can see bullish divergence. I want to see it accelerate. I think that it will pick up once it gets above these levels here. Let's call it range bound for now. And I think a break below these lows would see an acceleration to the downside. But absolutely a break and a hold above 25, I think would be a real boost and an acceleration up towards 30,000. So that looks pretty good. And for now, I remain bullish on this and optimistic on Ethereum. Ethereum is doing fine as well. I expect that to continue up. So let's just get rid of that. I expect this to boost up. That weekly looks really good. Nice little beautiful bounce off that 200 moving average. And so far on that monthly, it also looks like it's forming a nice little bullish higher low. That's great. We've broken the high, I think. Yep, we've broken the high. I want to see us push up to 2,000. So this area this week, possibly a little bit higher, also looks good. Let's see Cardano. Cardano is now shifting. It's broken below this level. Now it looks like it wants to get back over, which is kind of cool because what that does is that very quick dip below that level and then trying to get back over it becomes effectively a rejection, becomes a really good confirmation of that level of support, but it's got to get back over to the other side of that. Binance looks like it's pretty much on fire. Again, got a couple of these things. Let's just get rid of this stuff here. I want to see that. It's looking really good. Look at that. It's a break above, beautiful break above resistance. Come back and retest it and find support this week and looking for buying opportunities on that and finishing off with Solana starting to push up to the upside. So no surprise, meaning that we know we've started to head into more bullish. The momentum is shifting more bullishly. We're seeing it across the board. We're seeing a bit of dollar weakness, but we're seeing it slowly, tentatively return. And we've got a long way back. So we could be doing, I don't know if this is going to be a nice, smooth, easy move, but I think that it's trying to get back on that path. And then we'll see it start to work its way up. And even if it was nice and smooth and steady, it's a good 3 to 6 months before we start to work our way back up to those highs, maybe even longer. So although it might seem really overly optimistic right now, it's not, because this could be, this could be a struggle. We could enter, if Ray Dalio or Michael Burry are right, and we enter stagflation, we could get a bit of growth, and then we go into a bit of a sideways motion, then a bit of growth. But what it appears as though we are now is we're not really looking at fresh lows at this time, not seeing any exhaustion or failure. I'll keep an eye out for that. For now, I'm looking optimistic. My plan A is to trade it to the upside, trade with the trend. So in other words, trend continuation opportunities. There we go. Ladies and gents, if you have any comments or criticism, obstruction, constructive would be appreciated. Just put it in the comment section below. And thank you very much. Have a great week.